Thank you very much. My name is Frank Smith. I'm the Head of Partnership Services for Experience Oxfordshire. We're the DMO for the County of Oxfordshire and the City of Oxford. We're a not-for-profit charity. We work in the visitor economy. I have 200 business partners in hotels, attractions and experiences across the estate. We also run a walking tours business in Oxford, which takes up to 44,000 people a year on walking tours, quite an extensive piece. We market the city and county nationally, locally, and internationally. And we also run Oxford and Oxfordshire venues, which is another sort of string in our bow as such. Our aim, I suppose, is to get people to understand, particularly internationals, that Oxford is not a long way from London. Okay, so why bring your venue to your Oxfordshire, your booking, your association to Oxford? Well, the venues, I suppose. But the question is, the answer is, so, well, where else could you hold a meeting in a room that was once lived in by Oscar Wilde, or Dine, where C.S. Lewis wrote, or William Gladstone, all those famous names. And then perhaps after your meeting, take an evening networking trip down the River Thames. The location is absolutely idyllic for the city, and the same is reflected out in the county with the likes of Blenheim Palace and Broughton Castle and other countryside opportunities. We take bookings for the universities as well. So I have 28 venues partners across the city and county, and also 68 university venues. The universities of Oxford, because obviously we have two, we have Brookes University and the main university, offer a huge range of venue platforms in terms of meeting rooms, but also conferencing and theatre style event spaces. The main university in Oxford is composed of 39 colleges, which as a venues booker from outside the UK, if you came to try and book a venue in Oxford, you would be befuddled completely, because each and every one of them has their own process. We operate through another partner called Conference Oxford to access 68 of those properties. So we have therefore provide a one-stop shop and remove those communication issues to find the right venue. A lot of those venues in a university are obviously tied to faculties, which would represent and key in with association bookers around the world. So the history and heritage bit, I suppose, is another piece of why Oxford. You know, there are over 1,500 listed buildings in the centre of Oxford. And I say the centre of Oxford because it's a very small space. You can walk from one side of Oxford city centre to the other in less than 10 minutes. That covers everything that there is in the city centre. It's a really great piece of space in terms of that. So it's great delegates. And within that space also sits a huge number of hotel rooms. So accommodation is not an issue, although we can also arrange accommodation within the university buildings themselves. Let's say 1,500 listed buildings. Among the alumni we've had sort of 27 prime ministers, 30 international leaders, 50 Nobel Prize winners. All of those things lead it as an authority to resort to come to. Outside of Oxford, we have Blenheim Palace, UNESCO World Heritage Site, birthplace of Winston Churchill. And again, a lovely piece of space to take out delegates for the incentive activity. Inspiration and peace, I suppose, is another piece. If you come to Oxford, once you go the other side of the college walls, it is an oasis of calm. This is the reason why it's such a great place to learn from. But it's an oasis of calm and peace also for your delegates to attend, with peaceful gardens. Britain's oldest botanical gardens occupies a huge space next to the river Cherwell. Again, could be boat trips down Cherwell. Arts and culture, again, sits strongly in Oxford and Oxfordshire. All the museums in Oxford are all free. The Ashmolean Museum in Oxford is the world's oldest museum. It's the original museum from William Ashmole. Added to that, we have Pitt Rivers and National History Museums that are there really to support the student population in their research, but they're also there for visitors to enjoy as well. And also the Bodleian Library, which is the biggest library in the world, has a huge book depository in Oxford and under the streets of Oxford as well, which you can tour. Also has a book depository outside of Oxford, and one copy of every book published in the world ends up at the Bodleian Library. they have everything there. So huge piece of information. Also great theatre venues, modern theatre venues like the new theatre in the Oxford Playhouse, which also can be converted to conferencing and venue space. Right the way back to the Sheldonian Theatre, which was built by Sir Christopher Wren in the 1700s, and occupied as a very old-fashioned piece of space, but has that sort of heritage feel to it, but also has world-class musicians performing there, which I went to one last night in actual fact. So lots of arts and culture going on. Huge broad range of incentive activities available in Oxford and Oxfordshire. We ourselves, as I said earlier on, run Oxfordshire walking tours. So we do literary tours, so lots of C.S. Lewis, Tolkien, those sorts of types of literary tours. There's all these books and all these people all studied. It's all from Oxford. Right the way things that are slightly more modern, those people like sort of the Harry Potters and the Inspector Morse, those types of tours. They're all available for themselves as down as incentive delegate downtime, and we can all organise those in large or small groups. The other piece that also tends to happen in Oxford quite a lot, there is always a film crew somewhere in Oxford filming something. Goes back to the sort of Harry Potter and the TV pieces. They're still filming Lewis and Endeavour. I was in town 2 weeks ago and they were filming pieces for the new Willy Wonka film. And outside of the Bodleian Library, there was about 300 girls waiting to see some film star that I've certainly never heard of, but it does attract a lot of film locations. The county does as well. There's been quite a few movies over the last 3 years with Brad Pitt and Tom Hanks where they've done filming, war type films out in the county and using that countryside backdrop. So the other sort of incentives I suppose we've got in terms of, you can have something a bit more modern, so you can have junkyard golf or something in the centre of Oxford, or you can hire a river steamer and have an evening dinner going down the Thames. We use that as a nice piece of nice resource. Or alternatively, go to Bicester Village. It's only 5 minutes by train journey from Oxford, and that's a world-renowned sort of branded boutique shopping village. Or alternatively, I could throw at you, I've got 3 gin distilleries that are partners of ours, 200 partners, and you could make your own gin. So that might be, again, another alternative. Some more sort of traditional things, you can go on Cotswold tours, so tour the film sites of Downton Abbey and Cotswolds, or one of my favourites, which is slightly off the beaten track really, is Crocodiles of the World. We have the biggest collection of crocodiles anywhere in Europe. Some up to 5.5 meters tall, and you can arrive at feeding time and watch them jump 6 meters in the air. So great delegate downtime, really. You don't get that anywhere else. So we do have the unusual. Our sector strengths, I suppose. The university obviously comes along with all its academic faculties, and of course, the vaccine AstraZeneca is very much the home base for the university. But added to that, outside the university, lots and lots of technology. We have Harwell Science and Innovation Park, which is very much about space, energy, and health. Again, it's conference facilities out at those venues, with the possibility of getting authoritative speakers to come along for events. Also, Oxford and Oxfordshire is Motor County. It's home of the Mini, and home of several Formula One teams, and also home of a company called Arrival, which are based in Banbury, at the north of the county, who are mass producing commercial electric vehicles going forward. So, which kind of brings us on to the other part, I suppose, that how sustainable things are in Oxford and Oxfordshire. I'm pleased to announce in the middle of February that Oxford started the pilot scheme for the first zero emission zone in the UK. And that's being piloted through this year, and that zone will be expanded across the city centre over the next few years. So sustainability is probably one of the keys for us as such. So getting in and out, I suppose, is one of the things. I said earlier on, we're only 50 minutes by train from Marylebone from London, or an hour by train or coach from London Heathrow. Coach transport leaves London and Heathrow every 20 minutes, both ways, 24 hours a day. Trains run at pretty well the same frequency. As with the DMO for the county, we also, and we have those 200 partners, companies like GWR, Stagecoach, Chiltern Trains are all my partners who can all arrange corporate travel rates for venue bookers. Across the county, we've got a really good infrastructure in terms of roadways and public transport, so it's easy to get around. I also have 7 individual private transport providers who can provide executive travel out of London, but also around the city and county. So I suppose the next piece is, as I experience Oxfordshire as a venue service, why come to us? First of all, I'd say, you'd be a fool to go anywhere else in terms of authority. We're very well connected. Internationally, bookers need to realise that Oxford is not that far from London. It is an easy trip out for their delegates. We try to make it easy to find the right venue for your event. So our venues guide, which we'll come on to in just a moment, matches everything from room size, table arrangements, catering, disability access, all of those things with the requirements of a venue booker. It's a free service because these are our venue partners. They pay into to us, so it's free service for the bookers, even though we're a charity. We provide a single point of contact for national and international event organisers. They need to come to us, and we can organise things for them on the ground. So we're providing a bureau service, but with a very personal introduction. And all of us in the office, because we're all very much visitor economy based, we know Oxford and Oxfordshire inside out. We know our product really well as a background. Huge range of unique venues in the city and county, say from university to hotel to castles, all sorts of different opportunities, different sizes as well. And I say, because we're the DMO, we can bring together venues, accommodation, and attractions together to put a package together for a venue booker. So in total, I suppose we're a one-stop online venues guide. It's kind of all you need. So how do you find out more? On our website, details on this presentation, we have a free 50-page downloadable guide with full details of all 28 individual venues, right down to postcodes, toilets, everything that's in there. Plus details of all 68 university venues, advice on things to do, getting around, getting here, a lot more detail than what I just talked about, accommodation detail and transport providers. And that one guide really is for venue bookers. I mean, just done Meet GB. It's a real valuable resource for them to have on the shelf if they're thinking they have clients and associations that want to come to Oxford and Oxfordshire. And that's my presentation.